Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Three Bone Theater YouTube channel. My name is Tiffany Bryant Jackson. I am the education manager. And today I have three lovely humans from the Eureka Day cast. Now, this is an example of if you ask, sometimes we can make it happen. Also, if you answer your surveys, we do read them. We recently sent out a survey, and an audience member had a great question about how our actors step into roles that might differ from their personal opinions or make them have to think about their opinions and views. And we know this show takes on various stances of immunization. So we wanted to ask some of the actors on and get their thoughts on their initial read through, what they thought of the characters' opinions, and if they're different from themselves, how do they walk into that and treat that with grace? So today we have Donna, Amy, and Brandon. I will let each of you kind of go and talk about when you first read the script and you got that character. Did you think to yourself, this is me? Or, oh boy, this is very much not me? And how are you up for that challenge?
Do y'all want me to go first? I can go first.
Go
Just like
ahead.
just like Suzanne, right?
Yeah.
I can go first. I was aware of the play, and so I knew fully going in that the role that I would be playing would be opposing my personal view. And as an actor, for me, that's actually what I'm in this for because I don't want to play myself. It's exciting to get into the skin and the thought process of someone who is different than you and who's someone who's perhaps done things that you haven't done or in the play does things that you wouldn't do. And so, I think that as actors, we also sort of have to figure out for ourselves. We have to be a little bit of an advocate. You have to figure out why they are the way they are. Otherwise, you can't be truthful about it. And so there's a lot of thought process there too. So that's just my opening statement about it.
Thank you, Donna.
Thanks.
I know, don't jump in all at once.
Oh,
I
go
can
ahead.
go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, I like like Donna, I was aware of the play before I auditioned for this. And uh, also like Donna and like Amy and like everybody else that was cast. It's not like I have an option to play a different character. So my looking at this play, I'm obviously looking in at the lens through with the lens of Eli, and he is uh, for the most part, very much how I feel about it. I'm very pro-vaccination. The difference that he and I have is his the choice that he and Rebecca make to do the delayed schedule for Tobias. Um, if I'm completely honest, I had no idea that there was a delayed schedule whenever I first got into this. My wife and I haven't had kids yet. We haven't even had that conversation of what vaccination is going to look like. So, taking a look at what that delayed schedule is was something that I had to do. And luckily for me, he's still pro-vaccination, and so I don't really have to differ my own viewpoints at all with Eli's in terms of that, because at the end of the day, he is still pro-vaccination. However, I am of the same belief as Donna that I don't really want to play myself on stage. Um, there's a lot of there are reasons that we are actors, and part of the reason for us as actors is that we're interested in portraying other people. Um, and I find that it's a greater exercise of my personal empathy
Mm.
um, to take on a character that is a bit different from me. And Eli is still an exercise of that empathy. He is quite a selfish individual at times. um, so yeah, I mean that's where I am. I guess where Eli and I do differ is I am not in any way, I'm not poly. And he is poly in that. And so that is a very different thing. And had great conversations with our stage manager about what that kind of the mindset of that world, how it shifts things, how you view certain things, how your lens alters, uh, pointing out how certain lines are spoken and how it gives you deeper insight into his relationship with Rebecca, but also his relationship with Mako throughout the play. So yeah, that was the a departure for me, but a very fun journey, very fun challenge to undertake.
Thank you. Amy, what about you diving into your character?
Well, sorry, I'm still at work. So obviously, I'm a healthcare worker, and I'm obviously pro-vaccination. So when I first read the script, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be different. Um, but I do think that Mako, the character, having this arc where she comes around and eventually chooses the correct side, in my opinion, um, kind of helped me be more agreeable to playing the part, I guess. I do find it challenging to play people that have different beliefs as me. I have played myself before, actually, um, at Davidson in May, or no, March. And I found that I really don't enjoy doing that. It was really boring. So definitely, like Brandon and Donna, part of being an actor is playing someone completely different from yourself. So I really have enjoyed that. It's been fun. Mako is a complex character. She has a lot of different thoughts, feelings. But what I liked about her is that she can use her experiences, things that happen to her to like help change her opinion. She's not so like firm and saying like I'm right, this is wrong. She can like she's a little more malleable. So that's kind of like me actually. So I do like that.
I think each of you brought up something that's very important, and I think it's a great skill set that actors have in their toolbox, which is the ability to really create empathy for the characters they play because you're walking into them wholeheartedly, and so you're putting on the skin of someone else, which means you have to let go a little bit. You know who you are. Donna, you know who you are in real life. Brandon, you know who you are, and you know who you are. But to take on a character, there's a lot of work that goes into that, and I don't think everyone knows that there's work behind the scenes before you even get to the stage. So this is for all the audience members who may not be creatives or in the theater world. So I would love, specifically for you, Donna, since your character does not budge.
Right.
She is there. What research did you do to really get into that mindset and hold firm to that and give her all the humanity she needed for her circumstances?
Well, I read a lot about stuff that she brought up that she brings up just to check on things. I did actually read a little bit about Eli and Amy. Eli and Mako would be probably not surprised that I read about polio because she does talk about polio. But I did just do a lot of general reading about I feel like this is a big spoiler, but she had a child that passed, and I did a lot of reading about what that is. I also did some reading about SIDS, and I actually have a personal connection to someone who had a child pass of that. And so I'm aware of that situation, but I did just some more research of it about it. And that I think that kind of informs it really does inform some of the ambiguity that I found in the research informs why if you are someone who had suffered that loss, you might absolutely there's a lot in the text really that gives Suzanne away, like her thought processes. I mean, she's kind of always foisting, I think, a little bit of her stuff onto other people. And there's a section where she talks about how Eli is just must be looking so desperately looking for someone to blame. And I think that's actually, she's saying that about herself, quite frankly.
Mhm.
I'm also a person that doesn't have children. So there's that. I mean, so I mean, as an actor, I get to have I get to have these thoughts about what would it be like. But certainly, I have suffered loss in my life, so all of that transfers. But I have also, in this particular run of this show, had someone say, "Oh my gosh, how can you do that if you don't?" And it's part of the it's part of the interest for me is to be able to kind of think about what it would feel like and step into it. So.
It is work. You don't have to have walked it to know it per
Right.
se, right?
Yeah.
But if you do your due diligence and research, then you can understand how people get where they're going.
Yeah.
And I think the show does a really good job of it doesn't flat out say like she was all the way wrong and we should do away with her. It really is what's best for the greater good.
Right.
in this location, and that's what people have to think about. I think it's best in that scene when it's you and Vanessa, and you each are like, "Well, I hope you get what you need out of it," but what
Yeah.
you each need is completely different.
Right.
So then the conversation shifts. What's good for one may not be good for all, and then each of you have to take that into consideration as you walk through this journey, because you all start at the very beginning. You all start on the very same page with this goal of inclusion and not really having separate thoughts and consensus, which is a hard thing to do anywhere. I don't think
Yes.
I could get consensus in my house if I was trying to figure out one thing.
Yeah.
But you all start in one position on the board, and then we see the spread and the shift and what that's like for each of you. How has the reception been from audience members after the show, especially around these topics?
I don't know. What have people been saying to you guys?
We've been getting some really good feedback. I got some educators that were in last Saturday who
Mhm.
talked about being in the middle of that struggle of what makes sense for everyone. I also, in my preparation for pulling material, talked to some educators who were in the midst of COVID, which is our most recent
Right.
pandemic,
Right.
and what that was like. I specifically talked to someone at a day school so I can
Mm.
get their opinion, because I did not know before this show that how our private and day schools function as far as public health is very different than how our public schools function. So we've gotten a lot of good feedback about how it really shows the range and how it's really accurate to what's happening in schools when they're going through these things. And Eli, no one's your friend. And we just don't leave.
No,
You save
no.
the day, but you
That's
break so many rules.
no. I was gonna say I haven't really nobody's really said anything to me about as far as like the conversation of immunization or not. Everything I get is about his relationship with Mako. That's
Right.
all the feedback I get every
Right.
time.
Oh,
That's all I
oh,
get.
yeah.
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 I
I will
get,
say that's what most people say about you when they leave.
That, hey, that's fair.
I, people ask me, they're like, "Are you really crocheting up there?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm crocheting." And then they they ask me, oh, I lost my train of thought. Damn it. Oh, if we thought that Suzanne's child really died from
Oh.
the MMR vaccine, or if Juniper really died from SIDS. And then they asked me my opinion,
Interesting.
because I'm a nurse. So um, I don't know if I want to. I don't. Yeah, but anyway, so people ask me that, but I don't know if that's. We never really talked about that in rehearsal.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But I do.
Interesting.
But I do feel like Jonathan Spector intentionally put that vaccine court material in there to show that, the possibility
Yes.
of Juniper dying from complications from the vaccine is possible, but I don't think it's necessarily. I think he kind of wanted the audiences to form their own opinion on that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was just a little something something there.
Interesting
I think that's
combo.
accurate. I think, a lot of people, I've had a couple people say, I really hated you
Oh.
as they walk out. And I had hear somebody say that. And then I had somebody else say, I didn't hate you. I understood. And that actually
Mm,
is what I wanted. I mean, like,
mm-hmm,
I'm not here to convince
Yeah.
you to not
Right.
vaccinate your kids, because that's not.
mm-hmm,
But
Right.
what I think I take away from the whole Suzanne situation is where I am a very sort of black and white person on these issues, and I don't have any really leeway, and I'll be, maybe perhaps tolerance of someone who thinks differently than I do, particularly having gone through COVID. This particular role has made me understand a little bit better that everyone has a story that you don't know. And this is something we throw around all the time, right? Like, people, you don't know
Mhm.
what people are going through, but it is
Yes.
the truth. And you don't know what people have lived through to come out on the other side as who they are. And I feel like that's probably an important lesson, for me to learn, and maybe for people to take away too, is that
mm-hmm,
even if you disagree with her, she might have something that
She's
is,
a reason.
yeah, that is more of a reason. So,
She didn't just get that way. I think the writing does a beautiful job of showing us all that, peeling back that labor. You know, it's interesting that the show is written pre-pandemic because it's so accurate for what a lot of us went through in the pandemic.
Yeah,
yes.
sure.
But I think it does a beautiful job of saying, oh, it is not that simple for anyone. You know, Mako says it. She goes, I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if I'm doing it wrong, which is, as a parent, valid.
Yeah.
Valid. My kids are adults now, and I still don't know if I did it right. Crossing fingers, you know? So I think the writing does an excellent job of showing us that nothing can ever really be 100% for sure, really. The question is, though, how do you make decisions as a group and who gets to be heard in the room? Because there's also a little bit of underlayer of the new parent doesn't get taken as seriously,
Right.
right? There's something about the old guard and the new guard. There's so much layers in this piece that it's really hard to walk away and go, they were 100% right the whole time, and I didn't have to think about anything else. And you guys do a beautiful job of portraying that. So I know our audiences agree. You guys do a
I
great
think
job.
what's actually one of the things that I was thinking about when we set this up today is the thing that has actually been hard for me throughout this process is to be specifically kind of nasty to people that I like. And I know that my character is supposed to do it, so like I can tell myself that, but like it would be hard for me not to like eye contact and smile at people across this, you know, because and that's I think maybe has been much harder for me in this particular show than I would have thought it would have been. Maybe it's because we're all such a fun group of actors, but I love it's been a great cast and it's been a lot of fun to play with these people. And so it's hard when I have to when my character in particular has to say stuff that's, you know, particularly awful
Yeah.
or, you know, that she clearly knows is going to land in a certain way. And that but that's part of the job. So
Yeah.
I have to do it and I have to and when
Which
you
is,
are telling a story for a point, which is like what I love about theater and the reason well, you know, another reason that I loved it so much is that we're telling a story that has like an underlying situation, an underlying point, and so it's my job to do it the way that I'm supposed to do it, not the way that my internal, you know, psyche might want me to. So it's
I I will say, when I first read the script, I had not no sympathy, but I had very little like for Suzanne. But throughout this process, and maybe it's because Donna's playing Suzanne, I find myself, truthfully, I find myself becoming very empathetic for her and her stance. Because regardless of what really happened, um, Suzanne believes that the vaccine killed her child, and that's how she feels. And it's, I mean, you have to have like that sorrow for her and that loss. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of
Yeah.
how she believed it happened and whether in actuality, you know, science versus whatever. But so anyway, so Donna, that's a credit to you.
Yeah.
But I
Absolutely.
definitely feel way more empathy for Suzanne. And when I wait backstage to help you change after that scene, I'm just like, I listen to it and it's beautiful. Your monologue is beautiful. So
Yeah. I feel the same way. I felt the same way about Suzanne, but Donna, you're doing. I I actually can empathize with her. I think Donna, I mean, I think Suzanne twists a lot of things and
she does.
capitalizes on a whole lot of
Yeah,
stuff
she
and
does.
cherry picks some information.
Yeah.
But I do empathize with her. I can see
which
where she's coming from.
are very human traits that we
Very
may or
human
may
traits.
not see in our own neighbors.
Yep.
But now we have a little bit of a pause when we look at the people next to us
Yeah.
before we just decide, oh, unlikable.
Yeah.
We don't know their story, and that's the trick. And if there's a moment of positive change that could happen, that's beautiful. It may not happen, but we have to figure out what's better for us all. So I'm going to ask you three this. I ask everyone. We've got one more weekend to see the show. So for anyone watching this video, if you have not seen it yet, what are you waiting on? It's been 2 weekends and it's been incredible. You've got this final weekend, Thursday through Sunday, to catch the show. Now, I want you guys to tell us, if someone leaves the theater, what is one thing you want that audience member to leave with from this production?
We're all human. We all make mistakes. Try to understand each other, I guess. That's more than one word. Sorry, Tiff.
It's a thought. One
Yeah.
thought. There you go. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think that, go ahead, Brandon.
No, you go ahead.
No, you.
No, you. Hold on.
Okay. I was just going to say that I think one of the things that I do like about this play, I mean, one of the many things is that they are really working on their community, and and there's different times where it seems that they're more community focused than others. But I feel like that is like important, particularly right now, and particularly in Charlotte, that we really come together as a community over a lot of stuff that's going on, and for us, and that even if your views are slightly different and your perspective is different, then you've got neighbors and you've got people that probably may need your help, and that's important to think about. It's not you're not a singular person in the world. No man is an island, and so we all need each other, and it's the community part of it's an important part, I think.
Yeah. I don't know that we talk about this much, but what always stands out to me about this group of people is their immense patience for one another. In that, I think there are so many places where this exact same conversation happens, and it doesn't take five executive committee meetings to come to the same conclusion that they came to. I think it's at the end of the very first meeting that they would have come to the end of this play. So the fact that they are able to hear each other, have patience with one another, and actually listen is something I think that would be great for audiences to take away from this, is just have patience with one another and listen.
I love that. Thank you three for hopping on and talking to me today. To the audience member who answered your survey with this question, thank you for giving us an opportunity to catch up the cast. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about their thought process jumping into a role, especially when it is not someone who is like them. We also learned from Amy, you don't want to play yourself, because Amy did.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's boring.
Played herself. And
Yes.
that's what makes the challenge. That's what I'm so sorry, friends. I have pets who are not normally in our videos. But yeah, that's what makes, I guess that's the meat on the bone in the lane of acting, when you get to take on a challenge. And you guys have done an excellent job of bringing empathy into the room and bringing awareness to a subject we all thought we knew, but maybe we didn't. So thank you again for your time today. Again, if you're watching this and you haven't caught the show, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you've got 4 chances to see this incredible cast take on an incredibly funny yet heartwarming show. See you guys next time.